How do we deal with it? How do we manage this emotional eating? How do we stop feeding our feelings? Really, it breaks down into 2 steps. And these are the 2 steps that I use when I'm coaching women who struggle with emotional eating. And this is really where I've had the most success. So I have read tons and tons of books, tons and tons of studies, lots of counseling, lots of exercise physiology research, anything I can get my hands on the topic of emotional eating. And I will tell you, it can be very overwhelming. There is so much information out there, and everybody's telling you to do a different thing, right? It's try these 7 steps, try this 11 step method. It's like, oh my goodness, like it's so overwhelming. I just need to sit down with a bowl of ice cream because I'm overwhelmed, right? So I have figured out what works and what doesn't work. And I've really broken it down into 2 simple steps. So if you're still following me and if you're ready to hear these 2 simple steps, I want you to let me know in the chat box. Good, still following. Okay, I haven't lost anybody yet. Nobody sat down to open up like a bag of potato chips, right? Okay. Okay, so the 2 steps to ending emotional eating. Step 1 is to recognize the first thing that you need to recognize. This is very important. So if you're taking notes, write it down, okay? Step 1 is to recognize. And the first thing that you need to recognize that you need if you want to overcome emotional eating is that you need to recognize that it exists, okay? So that's simple. Keeping a food record and ranking your hunger from 1 to 10 each time you put something in your mouth will bring to light if and when you're eating for reasons other than comfort. So this is very, very important. And I want to challenge everybody on the call to try to do this. Keep a food record, even for just a couple days, and rank your hunger each time you eat. So I sit down for breakfast and, I'm going to write, I'm a 6 because I'm pretty hungry at breakfast, right? Or maybe you're a 10, you're starving at breakfast. Each time you put something in your mouth, I want you to rank it 1 to 10. That's going to show you a pattern, not just for if you're emotionally eating, but also for when you tend to emotionally eat. So it's very important for you to identify this. I'll tell you that I did this on my own a couple years ago when I was really deciding that I wanted to overcome the emotional eating. And I found that afternoon time is actually the time when I am more tempted to eat emotionally. Okay. So doing this and ranking this really helps. For some people, it's late in the evenings, right? For some, it maybe is the mid morning. Maybe you have a break at work, whatever. Does anybody know, just kind of thinking of your day to day, what are your tough times? Do you struggle with the afternoons? Do you think that okay? So Stacy said 3 o'clock. Yeah. So you know that already. That's great. After dinner, before bed, during the baby's nap time. Yeah, I can relate to that one. That's me too. So I want you, if you don't know when this is an issue, if you really have not been able to recognize the emotional eating part yet, you can go ahead and do the hunger ranking, and that will help. And okay, so Suzanne brought up a good point. She said, should we gauge it by stomach growling, etc.? Sometimes people really can't recognize their hunger. Right. So yeah, obviously if your stomach's growling, yes, you are going to be hungry. What if your stomach's not growling, but you should be eating, right? Your body should be hungry. That's a really, really tough one. The thing to do when you're doing this ranking, the 1 to 10, is also you can write down how you're feeling at the time that you're choosing to eat. So next to your 1 to 10, you might write, feeling stressed, feeling tired, whatever. And that'll also give you a pattern. You will notice kind of the feelings that are associated with the times that you put food into your mouth. And that can be another way to track it. So definitely recognize. There are 4 telltale signs of comfort eating. And this, Suzanne, will also probably answer the question in an opposite way. So instead of trying to say, am I eating for hunger? We could rephrase the question, am I eating for comfort? That might be an easier question to answer. And you can really look at these 4 areas. You eat when you are not physically hungry. If you eat when you are not physically hungry, you're probably eating for comfort. Consider how long ago it was since you ate. Was it 3 hours or half an hour, right? If it's 3 hours, then yes, your body's hungry. If it was half an hour, most likely you are not physically hungry. If your body's sending you any clear signals that you're hungry, then go ahead. But if your body is not sending you any clear signals, you may want to consider if you're comfort eating. Is your stomach grumbling? Are you low in energy? Being low in energy is a sign that you need to eat, right? That you have physical hunger. But if it's been 30 minutes since you last ate, you have lots of energy, your stomach's not growling, but you find yourself sitting down with a bag of chips or whatever your snack is, maybe that's a little bit of comfort eating there. The second is when nothing satisfies. So ask yourself, is it hard to find a food that's satisfying me? For this reason, you don't stop eating when you're full. That's a sign of comfort eating. You may find yourself just like digging through the pantry for food or eating things you don't even like, just like, oh, this isn't meeting my need. This isn't meeting my need. I will just be honest with you. I have found myself standing in front of the fridge with the door open, like just eating bites of things because I'm like, I don't want this. Oh, I think I'm hungry, but I don't want this. I don't want this. Well, I wasn't hungry. I was eating for comfort. And at that time, it was a couple years ago, I didn't even recognize it. It was just nuts. So I'd like have a bite of something. I'd put that away. I'd get out another bite of something else, put that away. And yeah, not my proudest moment, but hey, we all start from somewhere, right? And we're learning, and it's good. We're all works in progress. Another way to tell if you're comfort eating is that cravings are usually triggered by an emotion. So ask yourself how you're feeling. That's, going back to ranking your hunger and writing the feelings that you have when you're eating. Are you angry? Are you bored? Are you nervous about something? Anxiety, boredom, all of those can contribute to comfort eating. The last really telltale sign is mindless eating. Comfort eating really has a mindless component to it. And you may not enjoy or even taste the food because you're just eating it mechanically, almost like you're in a trance. Has anybody ever caught yourself? Have you caught yourself doing that before? Like maybe you plop down on the couch in front of a TV show, or you're on the computer and you have a snack next to you on the computer, and yeah, Suzanne, I totally agree. Suzanne said, I think our society uses eating for entertainment. Absolutely. I completely agree. Um, Imagine just sitting in front of the TV mindlessly, or, at a movie theater, and you're popping chips or popcorn or whatever into your mouth. You don't even realize that you're eating it, right? It's almost mechanical. Yeah. Okay. And socially too is tough. Absolutely. So Cassandra said, especially when we have company and just graze all over the snacks while we're talking. We just had Jackson's birthday party, and I had a table set up in the kitchen with all the food. And then I had our bar in the kitchen lined up with all the snacks. And it was so funny. This is so interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. I had tables and chairs for lunch set up so people could take their plates out to their table, sit down out in the backyard. We had a bounce house. It was great. We had so much fun, and it was all decorated. It was awesome. And nobody was sitting at the tables, and we were all standing around the food table, standing, eating with our plates, standing just around the food table. Everybody congregated in the kitchen. Yes, it was so comical because we had all these tables set up and all these chairs set up, to go and have lunch, to sit down, to eat lunch, to be mindful, right? To sit, eat your lunch mindfully, then to go and play. Nobody was doing that. We were all just grazing, standing in the kitchen, congregating in the kitchen,